So there I am, trying to fight this giant, four-armed monster with nothing but a pointy stick while my teammate figures out how to give it an ulcer or whatever. I ramble, stuffing more delicious food into my mouth. A Thanatos can eat and talk at the same time without issue, and it's awesome. You said this thing was twice your size? Tyler gapes disbelievingly, her mandibles loose and slightly hanging. At least, I confirm. There's no way you beat that thing with nothing but a spear, she insists. A war queen couldn't do that without magic, let alone a squishy human. Well, you're absolutely right, I confirm, ignoring her slip-up. I got my ass whooped. It backhanded me 10 feet through the air, shattered my arm, and nearly squashed my skull into paste. And keep in mind, at this point I had no idea about the whole lich thing. I thought I was gonna die for real. So is that when Princess Penelope saved you? Tala asks, eyes shining. She's not. That's not how Valkan nobility works, Tala, I sigh. She is an immortal ruler of men. My sister argues. That is everything she needs to be a Thanatos. I don't think she's immortal, even after all her changes, I muse. She's certainly going to be, because she's a genius, but even if she figured out purely biological immortality, I doubt she's worked out the kinks yet. I've never heard her talk about information storage density or genetics or any of the steps, really. Well, maybe she didn't talk to you about it because you used to be too dumb to understand it, Tala smirks. You haven't exactly been describing yourself as the most efficient glyph in the ward. Hey, I wasn't stupid, I protest. Just ignorant. And incapable of reading social cues for some reason. No wonder you and my sister get along, Tala chuckles. Okay, so not Princess Penelope saves you. How? She doesn't. I answer. The clear one does. Penta jumps out of my body and possesses the monster. What? Tala yelps. A clear one could die doing that. I know. But she knew she was going to die anyway if I died, so she possessed it. But that just delays the inevitable, Tala notes. I grin with my eyes. Not if she then proceeds to bite her own limbs off. My sister's mandibles fall open in shock. You're kidding me, Tala gapes. That's completely insane. Of course she was insane. I laugh. The clear one gained personhood from my and Penelope's memories. But it was also the optimal move. Better to live traumatized than die, right? So the monster bleeds out on the ground and I get to munch on its soul while Penelope heals me back into working condition. Wow, Tala breathes. That's horrifying. Oh man, so much of my life was horrifying. You have no idea. There's a hostile Clear One colony forming inside your country's borders and you're harboring a traitor to that colony inside your own body. How does it possibly get worse from here? Tala, I survived 2 witnessings. Tala's spiked tongue drops down from her mouth. Bullshit. I actually caused one of them. Bullshit. She declares. You're having me on. How would you? Why would you? Well, it wasn't on purpose, I protest. The one below all just isn't a big fan of family, is all. Although the second one was caused on purpose. By a human, I mean, not by me. I tried to stop him, but he threw drugs at my face until I started hallucinating about frogs. Explain, Tala demands. Now. Hold on. We're getting ahead of ourselves. I laugh. I haven't even talked about how I met Galdra the Annihilator yet. That's the savage that defends the walled city with an innate ionization ability, yes? Tala clarifies. The human, I correct her. And Galdra doesn't have an innate ability, which humans call talents. She casts spells the hard way, just like us. The human with the ionization ability, sorry, Tala sighs. Are you serious about it not being innate, though? You're telling me a savage is that good without understanding the art? Human, I insist again. And would I lie to you? She huffs out a breath of air, taking a moment to savor a bit of her meal. She ordered some kind of bug grub dish with the intestines of a larva removed and replaced with sweet vegetables. It smells wonderful, although I'm quite fond of what she ordered for me as well, a platter of nearly a dozen individually cooked meats, fruits, eggs, grains, and condiments designed to be mixed and matched differently with each bite to maximize variety. It's a very strange meal to me, since Vita would have just gobbled it down all at once without caring about flavor, but I vaguely remember why I loved it so much as Malrosa and try to imitate that. It's very interesting. I'm not used to caring about flavor, really, since that was always a luxury. Now I feel like I'm getting a full-course introduction into the idea that how things taste is a lot more beautiful and complicated than I ever let myself give it credit for. Malrosa wouldn't lie to me, Tala sighs. And you're still Malrosa. So yeah, I believe you. It's just a lot to take in, you know? I can't deny we underestimated the humans, though. I mean, that's why you're in this mess. It's not all bad, I say quietly. I like the perspective. I get to enjoy things for the first time again. And, yeah, our culture totally downplays how much like us humans are. Probably so we don't feel as bad for how many of them that we kill. Should we feel bad? Tala presses. You're not exactly challenging the idea that they're aggressive, illogical, warmongering brutes, you're just demonstrating that they're good at it. I mean, yeah, humans are all those things, I agree. But also, we're the ones that went after them to take their land and slaughter them by the millions. So, doesn't that make us worse? Tala squints at me for a bit. I think you're wrong, she eventually declares. And if you give me a bit, I'm sure I'll figure out a reason why you're wrong. I laugh. Sure, take your time. I can go back to talking about how things went with Penta, if you want. Actually, on the subject of clear ones, what are you gonna tell Baraga? Tala asks. I mean actually telling them everything seems like an unnecessary pain, so I'll probably just let them take the memories for themselves, I admit, scratching my neck sheepishly. Tala snorts, her eyes glittering with amusement. Geez, you're such a deviant, Mal, she teases. You do know it's super obvious when they're walking around as you, right? I'm not. I mean, it's not gonna be like that anymore, I mutter, looking away with embarrassment. I already told them that. I just don't mind them taking the memories, is all. It's more convenient. Huh? Tala muses. I'm not gonna lie, sis, your loss of bodily autonomy fetish has always freaked me out a little, but I'm not sure how to feel about the realization that it's no longer a thing. It's comforting to see the ways you're still you, but it's spooky to see all the ways you kind of aren't. You are not one to judge about sexual preferences, Tala, I grumble at her. Whoa, I'm not judging, no one is judging. Tala insists hastily, holding up her palms in surrender. It's funny how that gesture exists in both cultures. We don't have to talk about me, this is about you. So even though Vita also got possessed on a semi-regular basis, you're no longer into it. Great. So, what are you into now? Nothing, I guess. Nothing? She asks, shoveling another bite of food into her mouth. How does that work? I don't like or want to have sex, I mutter uncomfortably. Even though you still have memories of having it and enjoying it, my sister clarifies. Yep, pretty much, I admit. It's something I have strong feelings about, so. I cut myself off, suppressing a shudder. It's something Vita has strong feelings about, so it automatically overrides however Malrosa felt. The lich is stronger. I won't make it out of this as even as I wish I could be. Yeah, I finish lamely. Well, that sucks, Tala says bluntly. It's certainly gonna be uncomfortable for you in 5 years. I'm a lich now, I shrug. I have a lot more options for immortality than giving birth to myself. Oh, Tala answers stiltedly. Right. I look at my sister carefully. Really look at her, using the eye that becomes more and more my one and only true self by the hour. Talanika's soul has the same artificial design as all Athanatos, crafted with a purpose, complexity, and direction that does not exist in humans. In some ways, it makes her more beautiful, her soul is a literal work of art. In other ways, however, it makes her seem stagnant. She's so similar to the dozens of other queens in the city, a manufactured essence to the design which makes her soul a lot less raw, a lot less of a pure representation of who she is. The part of her that is person rather than function is much smaller than in a human soul, though I suppose despite how overshadowed it is by the other parts it's no less beautiful than them. Tala is purple clouds and calm melodies, occasionally screeching with anxious energy but holding fast to her desire to seem controlled and composed for a sister that is clearly losing it a little. She feels responsible for me, and though she's genuinely terrified of my situation, she's doing everything in her power to keep an open mind for my sake. She's wonderful. Have you looked at my soul, Tala? I ask her. Yeah, she confirms. It's just weird and empty. Not anymore, I say. I was hiding before. Take another look. She seems a bit concerned at that, but she starts casting, and soon is staring directly at me. Her eyes go wide, and I wriggle a tentacle in greeting. Hey, Tala, I say quietly. What the fuck, she breathes. Oh, this is. You are. Very pretty, Mal Mal. Or I guess Vita? Either is fine, I shrug. I've always liked it when you call me Mal Mal. Is this even a real color? She mutters to herself. Progenitor, this is. Goodness. I can't blush, but if I could then my cheeks would be burning red. People being in awe over my soul self always gets to me. I finish off the last of my food, making sure the plate is clean as Tala silently fawns over me. So, what's next? I ask awkwardly. Did you have other plans for the day, or? Huh? Tala asks, jolting slightly as she peels her eyes away from my true self. Oh, gosh, I mean, I pretty much have my whole day blocked off for you if you wanna hang out. This was supposed to be like a thing to help you feel better, it just hasn't quite gone as expected, ha. I'd imagine not, no, I chuckle. Well, I'd love to spend the day with you if you have any other ideas of stuff to do. We could play detonation? Tala suggests. Or hoopball? I think I remember hoopball, but what's detonation again? Wait, what? Tala yelps, jumping to her feet. You don't remember detonation? You're the one who taught me to play detonation. Okay, we're doing that, come on. To the Numa practice grounds. Okay, let's. Whoa. Tala jumps out of her seat and physically scoops me up by the armpits, her other two hands weaving a flight spell that rockets us through the air before we're even down to the first story of the building. Whoa. I yelp. Whoa. Tala, what are you doing? Come on, Mal Mal. My sister whoops as we blast out of the restaurant and into the open cavernous air of Liriope. Don't tell me you forgot how to fly, too. I didn't forget. I snap. Oh, fuck, we're really high. Did I tell you about the time I fought a teleporter who tried to kill me by doing this? Cast the spell, you doofus. Tala insists. I do, hastily forming my own art to control my path through the air. Flying magic is extremely rare back on Verdantop, but here every Athanatos learns it from a young age. It was really funny, actually. The first time she cast it on me I resisted the spell, but that just meant all of my stuff got teleported a couple 1,000 feet in the sky and I was left fighting her cold ass naked. When I actually got teleported into the sky, I was giving everyone who looked up quite a show. Okay, that's hilarious. But more importantly, focus. You're not falling, Mal Mal. You've done this before, but you're also flying for the first time, right? You're not going to want to miss it. My sister lets me go and I hang in the air, a twist of wool being the only thing between myself and whatever direction I want to travel. The radiant, burning glow of the god's avarice hangs above us, illuminating the lush, beautiful city of Liriope from on high. The towering white spires of the opulent mansions, the twisting green vines cultivated to perfection, the fountains and parks maintained every day and every night into an impossible fantasy wonderland. All of it is dwarfed before my sister and I, rising up beyond it all. I love it. I love it. I love it, I love it. I do not need to pull on the wretched meat in my legs to get from place to place. I do not even need to twitch my wings if I don't wish to. Nothing stands between me and my destination but willpower. This right here, is how I was always meant to move. You remember the way? Tala asks. I look at her and signal assent. I do. This is my city. Then lead on, little sis, Tala offers happily. And with a bubbling cry of joy I can't possibly contain, I do exactly that. I tuck my arms and wings close to my body and just let myself move, zipping and spiraling through the sky as giggles escape from my sides. I want to always be doing this. I want to never walk again. Slow down, Mal Mal. My sister yelps, rushing forwards to catch up with me. Wings out, let yourself control your direction through gliding. You'll exhaust yourself constantly relying on mana thrust like that. Let yourself take a break from channeling. I just laugh even harder. Exhaust myself from channeling? Why would I do that? I am my mana, I don't have to fight it to get it to do what I want. Make me. I call out to her, stretching my tongue out from between my mandibles to taunt her. She spends a moment being stunned and mildly scandalized before letting out a laugh of her own and launching after me, the two of us dancing through the skies and pointedly ignoring the raptured looks from the workers below. I feel my training and experience as Malrosa tell me I'm doing it wrong, insisting that Tala is right and I need to be guiding my direction with my wings and controlled bursts of thrust. But my instincts as Vita, as a creature more than her flesh, sing a very different story. This could hardly be any better. Except, perhaps if I modified the motion art to be better accommodated for my limitless capacity to channel myself, I could make things a bit smoother. Just thinking about it causes more giggles to bubble up from my lungs, which is distracting enough that Tyler manages to tackle me in midair, sending both of us briefly sprawling before I exert enough force to even us out. My sister, panting with exhaustion, folds in her wings and allows me to carry her as she hangs on my shoulders, beaming smugly at me as we laugh alongside one another. Wow, she chuckles. It's been ages since we've done something like that. Well, big sis, when a princess gets older she's supposed to start acting more mature, I snicker. So logically, if a princess gets younger. Come on, Tala laughs, smacking my arm and pointing to our destination. We're almost there. I'll barely be able to play if we keep flying this hard. I'll barely be able to play if you don't teach me what the rules are, I remind her, though I do carry her all the way to the Numa practice grounds. It's a fairly simple building, staffed by a handful of men whose main job is to tend to the animals and cart said animals to the butchers when they die from having their souls taken out or catastrophically destroyed. I wonder which of the two we'll be doing today, though my question is quickly answered when I set Tala down and she quickly jogs over to murder a small critter from the pens. Okay, Tala announces as she cups the dead soul in two hands. You got anima and mana sight on? Always, yes, I confirm. She tilts her head. What, like? Always? My soul is an eye, I point out. Oh, right. Okay, So, detonation. The basic premise of the game is to destroy the other player's artwork while crafting one of your own. Seems simple enough, but why would we need a soul for that? I ask. Because the artwork is a channeled spell, Tala explains. And we may only alter it through manipulating its structure directly. Tala takes the soul and casts a few quick Numa spells, shattering it into dust. Rather than let the soul dust dissipate or use it as food for another soul, however, she starts crafting with it, making a tube-shaped structure of anima that very distinctly is not a soul anymore. I watch, utterly stunned, as the half of me that considers this normal and obvious does its best to tame the half of me that finds this revolutionary. Anima is just a substance. It's the mana universe's equivalent of matter, and though it is the fundamental building block of the soul, there is absolutely nothing that prevents it from only being a substance that comprises souls. It can do so much more than that. Or at least it could, if the Mistwatcher didn't slurp up any loose anima that isn't currently growing inside someone. So, normally you can only manipulate the channeled mana inside your own body and soul, Tala continues, handing me half of the anima tunnel. But if we use this to make a sort of link between our souls, we can both channel and manipulate the same set of mana. The art we craft has to have no impact on the game and a consumptive property below 1%. A basic ekphrasis loop that converts mana into mana is the most popular structure, but you can go wild with whatever silly useless spells you can think of to fit the criteria. But of course, your attention has to be split between crafting your spell in such a way that I can't disrupt it, and disrupting my spell to make it detonate. Oh, and obviously you need to keep your mana constructs in the tube so they don't blow up inside your body. Won't the one below all reach up and eat our soul tube at some point? I ask. Well, yes, and that's when the game ends. You princesses playing detonation? A gruff female voice asks. A queen's voice, to be exact, since I felt two of them heading our way for a while now. I turn to face them and immediately my eyes light up into a joyful expression. Queen Venatila. I greet her happily. And Naga, too. Nice to see you both. Nagatilka, my former combat instructor, gives me a tired-looking wave as she approaches alongside her partner, the absolutely massive Queen Venetilla. A full head and a half taller than most other queens, Venetilla designed her body for weight and strength, like one of the heavy soldier designs from our history that are no longer used. She would often assist Naga with handling Tala and my martial training, usually by kicking our asses 2-on-1. Veena is a bit of an odd one out since queens are, on average, stronger than humans, but our culture doesn't pride physical capability very much. Why would it, when magic is so much more effective? Even with Naga and Veena training us to be warriors, hardly any of that time was spent using weapons, and none of it was spent learning hand-to-hand fighting, the reasoning being that if we have a hand free, we should be casting a spell, not punching anybody. I can't deny the logic there, but I still feel as though it's a bit of a wasted opportunity. I'm definitely glad I learned to use a spear. Even Venetilla seems to just enjoy the aesthetic of having a huge, strong body more than actually using that strength as a replacement for magical might. Of course, Naga also seems to quite enjoy the aesthetic of Veena having a huge, strong body, so maybe that's all there is to it. I hope you're recovering well, Melrosa, Queen Nagatilka says, twisting her eyes into an apologetic expression. Learning some games for the first time again, then? Yep, I just finished being taught the rules, I confirm. It seems pretty fun, except for the part where I can't play it. A confused pause occurs where the three other women mentally catch up with what I just said. Sure you can? Tala insists. Just give it a try. I shrug, figuring that's probably the fastest way to explain anyway. Tala shows me how to get the anima tunnel set properly and begins to manipulate the watcher mana inside. I stick a hand directly into the tunnel, pump my mana into it, and let a crackling roaring out through the practice grounds as the two mana types annihilate each other. I can't play this, I repeat, thoroughly enjoying the expression on my stunned sister's face. The reactions from Naga and Veena might be a bit more problematic, though. What the fuck did I just witness? Veena asks, utterly baffled. What kind of art did that? Did you see her craft anything, Naga? I did not, my former teacher says, clearly concerned. Yeah, I love you two very much, but you sort of missed something big when you checked my soul, I tell them. The progenitor knows about it, so don't worry too much, but yeah. The two of them clearly aren't happy with my non-explanation, but the progenitor is cool with it as a statement that holds quite a bit of weight here in Liriope. Still, it doesn't stop Veena from blurting out quite the swear when she casts a pneumocite spell. Mother's ass CT, girl. Veena declares, squinting as she casts a soul sight spell. What is in your memory core? I am, technically. Anyway, Tala, I can't actually channel the one below all's mana anymore. I use my own. Your own? She repeats. My own, I confirm, raising a hand and flicking my fingers to cast a light spell in it. It still works, it's still mana, but it's fundamentally incompatible with the mana in the atmosphere. They annihilate each other on contact. How do you just keep getting weirder, sis? Tala groans. Natural talent. Tala lets out an exasperated noise as the two queens continue staring worriedly at my soul. What sort of spell could have possibly done this to you? Naga asks. That's a conversation I've already had way too many times today, I hedge. Can we just play a different game? Hoopball doesn't require any joint artistry, it's just spells, spells, spells. I wanted to do joint artistry with you, Tala says despondently. It's kind of scary that you can't? It's the art, Mal. I can let you use my mana, I tell her, shrugging sheepishly. And we could work on something cooperatively sometime. But in a competition where you were using my mana, I'd have a stupidly unfair advantage. Well, ignoring all that insane shit you're talking about, Veena butts in. What the fuck are you doing with your shoulders, child? That up and down thing. It looks uncomfortable. Why exactly are we ignoring the insane shit she's talking about? Naga counters. I very much want to focus on what the princess is talking about. Well, I don't. I insist forcefully. I'll tell you later, okay? But today, Tala and I are hanging out and having fun. Right, Tala? Yeah, she sighs, a bit despondently. Though if you want to play hoopball, we're probably going to want to invite them. It's way less fun with only two people. I shoot a questioning glance at Naga and Veena to request their answer. I am trying to respect your privacy, Malrosa, but are you sure you're not in danger or anything? Naga asks. Is it safe for us to play around if your ability to interact with mana is acting up somehow? That looked an awful lot like the unknown ekphrasis art the savage you killed was using. It's not an ekphrasis art and it's perfectly safe, I sigh. I'm fine, Naga, I promise. The lost memories suck and there are some weird bits right now, but overall I'm doing better than ever. Or at least half of me is. Alright, well. If you're sure, Naga nods. Do you have any objections, honey? Nah, Veena grunts happily. Just don't think we'll go easy on you, princesses. You know I'm not good at holding back. Wait, are you two going to be on the same team? Tala protests. We'll get destroyed. Let's give it a shot anyway. I encourage her, jabbing her in the side with an elbow. We can always change teams after the first game or two. Ugh, fine. Tala groans. It figures you don't forget your thick-headed competitiveness. Half of me is competitive, I correct. The other half just wants a rematch against some war queens. Just try not to merge with any of them, Tala counters dryly. You two are not making it easy to not ask questions, Naga says, squinting with irritation. Come on, let's go to the courts, Tala sighs, and once again we are flying fuck yes. All thrust, all power. By my will I move through the sky and it is glorious. Twirls and spins and loops, I am free. Free of the ground. That is not how I taught you to fly, girl. Naga barks at me. Don't care. I laugh back. Too much fun. Naga shouts a few other impudent reprimands, which I ignore to her mounting irritation, and Queen Venetila's mounting amusement. Unfortunately, we're very quickly at the hoopball courts, and it's time to land and start strategizing for the game. Hoopball is exceptionally simple. There are a set number of balls, usually 1 or 2, and each team has one hoop, a thin but wide ring of grown chitin or worked wood about 3 feet in diameter. Each team starts with a certain number of points, and if a ball passes through your hoop, you lose a point. When you're out of points, your team loses the game. What makes the rules so deceptively simple is the fact that there are very few other rules at all. A team's hoop is not stationary and is usually carried around at all times by one of the teammates, though naturally, you aren't allowed to just sandwich the hoop between 2 players to make it impossible to score on. Magic is almost universally allowed as long as it's not dangerous enough to cause serious injury. You can use motion arts on your hoop, the ball, and even the field itself. You can flash light in the other team's eyes with wave arts, summon barriers of ice with absence arts, and even power up your own body with life arts. Pretty much the only things you can't directly cast on are the other team's players and the other team's hoop. Almost everything else is fair game, barring obvious unfun exploits. You want offense or defense, Mal? Tala asks me when we land. With 2-player teams, it's generally best for one to focus on the allied hoop while the other scores goals, though there's nothing preventing those roles from being mixed or traded. Offense, I answer immediately. Yeah, I thought you would, she sighs. You know I'm not up to holding off Queen Venetila, right? Then I'll just have to keep control of the ball, I chuckle. Actually, do you want to do a double offense strategy? Dang it, Mal, you basically died and you're still reckless. Hey, this isn't reckless, I protest. It's a game, there aren't even any real stakes. Reckless would be like the time I wandered off into the forest alone after one of my other sisters died. Tala stiffens at that, surprise and concern jolting her into silence. I'm not really sure what else to say on the topic, though, so I turn my focus to the other team as she charges up the durability glyph on our hoop. I stare at them, and I stare into them, focusing my attention on their souls. Having only a couple days to get used to reading a Thanatos souls, more like a couple hours, really, since I was hiding for most of it, has not quite been enough to get quick, reliable reads on them. It's going to be tough to predict them in combat, but I suppose there's no better way to learn than by doing. While I watch them I start flushing my body and soul with mana, preparing a handful of soul shards to get my strategy ready. You ready to lose, princesses? Veena calls out to us as Naga readies their team's hoop. Yep. Tala calls back. She means we're going to kick your butts. I call after her. What tactical advantage do you expect to gain from that? Naga asks incredulously. That's not what. Oh, wow, I'm on the other side of this for once. We're ready, Tala sighs. Let's just go. All right. Vina roars. Then it's time. 4. Hoop ball. My sister and I rush forward as one, and the magic starts to fly. Power coalesces around me, a terrifying showing of might that, back on Verdantop, I would have assumed was a potentially lethal attack. Not here, though. This is just fun. A game. It's such a fucking wild concept, I don't know how to handle it. As usual, it's all familiar yet surreal. My Vita side has not only never played hoopball, but I've never played any sport, ever. The closest I've come to this situation is mock combat training, and in many ways I struggle to think of this as anything else. I'm not even being judged by my performance, though. Absolutely nothing bad happens to me if I lose. I could just not put in effort and everything would still be okay. I want to win, though. Competitive spirit boils up from the Malrosa part of me, and I bask in it. The intrinsic motivation to just go out there and give my all for no real reason. It's silly, it's pointless, and I love it. I'm having fun. I get to have fun now. This is my life. Why not try my hardest? Instructor Naga immediately opens the game by sending her hoop into a rapid spin to knock away any incoming balls, levitating it away from the center in erratic dodging patterns. We've gone with a single ball for this game, which is fairly uncommon. Since players can cast spells on the ball, single ball games often devolve into arcane tug-of-war, where raw magical might controls the only method of scoring points. This is much more difficult to accomplish the more balls there are, since if a team focuses too hard on one ball you can simply use a different one. Despite Queen Vina's insistence on not going easy on us, I don't think she'll start by just overwhelming us with raw mana output. Though even if she did, Tala and I are using a risky double offense strategy to gang up on her and negate that. No, I bet she's going to save her energy at the start and use quick bursts of magic to knock the ball towards our undefended goal. Of course, as long as I get close enough to her before she scores, she can't do either. Vina's arms move in quick, elegant patterns as the ball shoots up into the air, launching over our heads on a trajectory that will most likely land in the hoop that we've left lying on the ground behind us. My sister blocks it with a burst of her own motion as I continue to charge right at our enemy. I mean, the other team. Unfortunately, Vina takes one look at me and retreats. Shit. Afraid of me? I taunt. You're too transparent, girl. Vina laughs. I may not know what you're up to, but if you want to be close, that means I want to be far away, yeah? Bah, she's got me there. Fortunately, I'm no longer helpless at range. I used two hands to weave one of Vita's illusion spells as the other two summon an ankle-high wall of ice behind Vina to trip her. The queen barely stumbles, though, quickly righting herself with a beat of her wings. My illusory self rushes towards Naga, who largely ignores it in order to scoff at me. What kind of brain damage did you take to make such an ugly-ass art? She barks at me. No self-respecting queen should move mana that way. Ouch, geez. They really hate Rowan's spell formula, huh? I guess the structure itself is pretty bad, now that I think about it. Ugly and inelegant, like most everything I was taught on Verdantop. Ew. I'll have to redesign and practice all my spells all over again. Focus, Mal. Oh, right, I shouldn't get distracted. I keep charging Vina, lifting off the ground to fly right at her, but her relentless offensive manages to score a goal on our hoop before I can make much progress. Sorry, Tala pants as we reset our positions. I can't keep up with her. It's fine, I reassure her. Charging her down won't work, so I'll focus on the ball. Double offense again? Yeah. Across the field, Queen Venatila has scooped up my combat instructor in her arm, the two of them lovingly nuzzling foreheads. Naga catches me looking and shoots me a smug expression. I'll be awfully bored defending the hoop if you can't even get the ball past Vina, she smirks. Oh, don't worry, I'm just warming up, I assure them. I get 3 sets of confused looks. Are you cold? Naga asks. Oh, progenitor damn it. I just groan and wave them off, moving the ball back to the starting position with a quick spell. The second round begins. I start trying to blind Vina with flashes of light and sound, but queens aren't as easy to disorient as humans are.
I knew that,
It doesn't matter. Tala manages to bonk the ball in my direction and I jump up, physically scooping it out of the sky. Vina quickly yanks it away from me, but not before I manage to slap a rune on the outside and a soul on the inside. I start spreading more runes over the ground around Vina, trying not to cringe at how amateurish they are. I keep defaulting to doing Vita things, but Malrosa should know how to play hoopball. I mean, I do know how to play hoopball, but the things Malrosa would do can't win against Vina. Malrosa lacks the raw power and out-of-context abilities that Vita has, while Vita lacks the skill, experience, and motivation that Malrosa has. None of my habits involve combining the disparate aspects of my skills, however. Mentally, I found my plans swapping between Vita things, Melik things, and Malrosa things, but never really doing all of them at once. But it's a lot. I have so many memories now I feel bloated with the damn things. This is my first real opportunity to practice being all of me, and I can't help but be a little excited for it. Besides, they're looking down on me. They think I'm an injured princess, but I'm not just Malrosa anymore. I am a goddess, I am a queen, and I am going to fucking destroy them. At hoopball, I mean. Your glyphs are hideous too, Malrosa. Naga growls. Who the fuck taught you to weave this way? A woman named Theodora, I answer flatly. And ugly or not, you have to admit her formulas work. Ready up, Tala. Triggering the glyphs on the ground just as I bat the ball back towards the other side of the field, Vina finds herself yanked violently towards them, disrupting her concentration enough to prevent a rebound volley. She rights herself quickly, only giving the ball a little more time to approach the goal before she bats it away again. But the moment she does, I activate the glyph on the ball, reversing its momentum immediately. You're out of tricks. Vina growls as my last rune disappears. Time to show you what I'm made of. Likewise, old lady. Die, I order my shard, and the soul in the ball shatters, releasing my mana all around it. For an instant before the screeching explosion, the ball is immune to any spell I disallow the existence of. Vina's volley is denied by my reality, and the ball flies true to the enemy goal. But Naga's hoop spinning trick is a classic strategy for a reason, and the ball is smacked away by the rim the moment it tries to get close. The problem with classic strategies, of course, is that they have classic counters. Got it. Tala announces, and her own spell blooms to life. A cage of ice solidifies into existence around the enemy hoop, enclosing it with the ball. The enemy team may not block off their hoop, but there's nothing to prevent us from doing so. And now every time the ball is smacked away by the spinning rim it rebounds back, its momentum enhanced by the strike. It clatters around inside, nearly bouncing faster than the eye can see until, after dozens of ricochets in the span of a second, it manages to pass through the rotating hoop, scoring us a goal. Yes. Tala cheers, rushing up to me and jumping with her palms outstretched. I jump up to meet her, giving her a celebratory high 20. Princess Malrosa, Queen Nagatilka chides. I do not approve of you using all these sloppy arts. You're better than that. I know, I sigh. I'm sorry, Naga. I haven't had time to refine them. They're all really suboptimal, but I have to use new tricks to get the upper hand on you. She grumbles. Well, I suppose as long as you intend to fix them. Or, quit being so stuffy and congratulate them, Naga, Vina laughs. They took a point from us. And those new tricks are very interesting. They stem from your new memory core, don't they, princess? They do, I confirm. I admit, I'm using this game as a bit of a testing ground. It shouldn't be anything too dangerous, of course. Dangerous? Vina barks. You're getting cocky, girl. Though I'll admit you gave me a bit of a fright when you ordered us to die all of a sudden. Don't worry, I reassure them, crouching down as Naga levitates the ball back to the starting point. That wasn't directed at any of you. It was a pneuma art. You have new memories in your core, Naga concludes. But how? Vina, I'm sure I didn't find anything even remotely like this in her soul. Nor I, Vina confirms. I'll explain if you beat us, I taunt. Naga and Vina glance at each other while my sister stares at me in horror. Oh no, Tala whimpers. Let's get back to it then, Vina smirks, and the ball rockets towards our goal so fast we barely have time to react. Holy shit. I knew Vina was sandbagging, but I didn't think she was holding back this much. I barely managed to defend the hoop by casting a powerful repulsion art in front of the entire hoop, curving the incoming ball just enough to save us from getting aced. But Naga has thrown her hoop into the sky, letting momentum defend it for now as she follows up on Vina's serve, batting the ball towards the hoop and nearly scoring again if not for Tala pulling our hoop away. This all takes less than a second, and suddenly Vina is charging me, apparently no longer content to play keep away and prod at us with her superior power and skill. She's going to try and fight on my terms, both curious as to what I'll do and confident she'll be able to beat me, no matter what it is. So be it, then. I weave an elegant spell, one that Naga did actually teach me. I freeze the air, but not into a wall or trap. Instead, I craft myself a weapon. A long, blunted spear, forged of magic and might, its skin-scouring coldness easily ignored by my dragon-scale gloves. I enjoy the feel of it for an imperceptible moment, wishing Nora was here with me as I heft my weapon with two hands. And Athanatos makes herself weaker by having her hands full, as she's unable to craft complex arts as quickly. But I no longer need arms of flesh to form my ephemeral body. My soul stirs, my body tenses, and I fill my new weapon with dregs. Die when you are struck, I whisper, and jab my spear at the incoming queen. Vina doesn't stop casting spells on the ball as she ducks under my newly formed staff, twisting her body to dodge in a way that only a creature capable of flight can expect to work. She's getting inside my reach. I try to jump back out to my ideal range, but Vina is faster. Of course, it's not like I need to hit her with the tip of the spear. Vina grabs at me and I block with the middle of the shaft, freezing her hand and sending a pulse of mana bursting around her as one of the souls I put in the spear shatters, breaking Vina's art. Unfortunately, the massive queen seems neither surprised nor deterred, swatting my spear aside with that very hand and barreling into me, hooking an elbow under each of my lower armpits and forcing my hands up above my head. With a complex joint lock she holds down all four of my arms with two of her own. Ah, I see her game. She's limiting both our casting abilities, but trying to limit me more. She'll still be able to use two arms normally while I'm stuck with just finger wiggling, which is easily disrupted if she jostles me during the cast. Too bad for her that none of it will work. This is exactly what I want. I can't help it, I start to giggle. Oop, am I tickling you? Vina asks, weaving together an art that will knock Tala to the ground so Naga's attempt at scoring will succeed. I don't answer. Why should I answer? I let my mana do the talking, pushing it out of my body and shattering what the queen is crafting like thin sheets of glass. Simultaneously, I use my tendrils to weave more frozen air into the world, sculpting a beautifully curved ramp which catches Naga's shot and uses its momentum to slingshot the ball in the other direction. Vina's eyes widen with shock. I didn't move my hands. She knows I didn't. I laugh harder. This is the best body I've ever had, sure, but did you really think I needed the body? Ah, this is so fun. Vina starts sprinting away from the action, knowing that magic is weakened by distance and that, if I'm taken out of the game, Naga will still beat Tala one-on-one. So clever. She's much stronger than me, at least as I am. I want to grin, but my mouth doesn't quite support it. I let my mandibles open up anyway. I don't care that it's improper. Why should I? I'm free. I'm not wanted for the crime of existing. I'm not being forced to hide. I have a family. I'm having fun. I don't need to hold back anymore. My laughter reaches a fever pitch and my shell cracks. The husk of Melrose I lapped up from the inside serves no purpose anymore. She lives in my true soul now. I am all that's left of her, and that's okay because I've become so much more. My tendrils burst free of their prison, wrapping around my limbs and helping me pull myself out of Vina's grip. Her muscles strain against me, threads snaking out from the inside of my soul to assist my tendrils. It's time to properly claim this vessel. Vina. Queen Nagatilka shrieks with alarm, her team's hoop clattering to the ground behind her. Get back. Ah, she cast an animasite spell. She sees me. She sees the hundreds of tendrils poised and hungry to rip out her lover's soul. Vina, to her credit, drops me and turns to run, causing me to laugh even harder. Such a powerful soul, running away from me. Delicious. I chase her, and once again I nearly crack my own legs from the force my threads put them through. How nostalgic. My spiked, Prehensile tongue falls out of my mouth as I continue trying to grin, laughter ringing through the arena. They're going to be mine. I throw my spear of ice at Vena's retreating form, causing it to shatter against the back of her skull and release a massive bloom of glorious blue. Her attempt to fly away sputters, and immediately I'm on top of her, tackling her to the ground. My tendrils wrap around her soul and she freezes, terror blotting out any attempt at conscious thought. Naga starts casting something to protect Vena, but she's too slow. It's over. I win. The ball drops into the hoop. Point to us, I say between my giggles, and then Naga blasts me with a wave of force that knocks me heels over head to the other side of the arena. I slow my momentum before I smash into the back wall, holding up my hands in surrender as both queens turn on me. I'm still laughing. God, hatching feels so good. I've been cramped inside a shell for way too long. What the fuck was that? Naga demands, preparing another spell to launch at me. Who are you? I'm Malrosa, and that was me kicking your ass at hoopball, I chuckle. Fuck hoopball. Explain, now. Bah. How could she say something so terrible about hoopball? Still, I sigh in acquiescence, one of my arms spasming slightly as my threads grow rapidly down it. Does everyone have animasight on? I ask, knowing that only Naga does. The other two quickly cast the spell, each reacting with horror and surprise. Progenitors perfect turds. Vena swears. What the fuck happened to you, Malrosa? I think. Apotheosis, technically? I hedge. You got rid of her, Tala whispers, her body shaking in horror. She's gone. What? I yelp, immediately retracting most of my tendrils. No. Tala, it's still me, I'm still Malrosa. The shell, I mean, what was left of that part of my soul was inert. Oh no, please don't freak out. It's me, I promise it's me. She takes a deep breath. Your entire soul is different, she shudders. All of it. The brain is a backup to the soul, I remind her. The soul is our true self, the one that passes on when we are reborn, but even if it's damaged our soul can be repaired from the brain. I tap my head. I am Malrosa. She is in my soul, even though it's different. Nothing has changed from an hour ago. Promise, she says. Promise you're not just some lying monster piloting her corpse. I promise, I assure her. I'm so sorry, Tala, I did not mean to terrify you like this. I love you. I was just really cramped in there, you know. Am I going to get my explanation anytime soon, or do I have to insist? Naga growls. You make the very air around you feel like an anathema to life. I've never felt a more dangerous presence. I was sure you were moments away from killing my love. I mean, she smells delicious and I was definitely tempted, but no sense telling her that. Sorry about that, I chuckle. I might have leaned into the shock and awe a little bit too much. I think something about being an apex animavore makes me ping on danger senses like that. Tala clears her airways for attention. Queen Nagatilka, Queen Venatila, I'd like to reintroduce you to my sister, Princess Malrosa, she intones formally. Though she now also answers to the name Vita. Her injury at the recent battle for the Pentaful Wood was no mere act of spite from a savage. She has merged in body and soul with the one she killed, for they, too, were a Thanatos. My sister is now a queen of death. And yet she lives, Vena notes. And yet she lives, Tala confirms. She is fused with a lich that can take still living bodies without preparing or killing them, but doing so apparently causes the merger in personality she now experiences. So she's half savage now, Naga concludes, her eyes emoting mild disgust. No, I correct her. I'm all goddess. I am a font of unique mana. I am kin to the one below all. And I'm a 15-year-old princess who just scored a point against you while you were going all out. Whoop whoop. I pump my arms in a victory dance, though everyone else seems rather nonplussed. You cast like a savage, Naga accuses. Well that's okay. First of all, humans suck, but that's no reason to call them savages. Second of all, yes, you're right, my casting today was hideous and it's entirely the fault of gross human spell formulae, and I am absolutely going to be spending at least a 10-day refining, correcting, and breaking the bad habits of my former bodies because yeah, the way they do magic is so ugly and gross. I'm sorry to have subjected you to that, teacher. She seems a bit stunned by that, but mostly in a good way, I think. She emotes acceptance with her eyes. Naga the angry artist is quelled, at least temporarily. Okay, can we fucking talk about the tentacles now? Veena butts in. I turn to her, extending a few more of my glorious tendrils out of my body. These? I ask. Yes. Those. I glance down at my wiggly anima bits. Well, I have them, I answer slowly. And they're awesome. She stares at me. I stare back. That's it? She demands. I don't know what you want me to say here. I yelp. What you can see pretty much sums them up. Why do you have tentacles? Veena groans, seeming exasperated. I dunno, to grab other souls with? Why don't you have tentacles? Can we, touch them? My sister asks hesitantly. Well no, there. I stop. They totally can touch my tentacles. The queens all have anima contact spells. Holy shit, holy shit, holy shit. I mean, yes. I say. Yeah, they're anima constructs but like. Feel free to. I mean, if you want. My sister steps hesitantly forwards as I reach a few tentacles out to her, one of her hands quickly flicking through the anima contact spell. Tilanika, Naga barks. Careful. Tala looks back at her. Come on, Naga, she sighs. She really did see the progenitor about this. And besides, my sister would never hurt me. With respect, I seriously doubt that is your sister. I wince a little at that, partially because it hurts to hear and partly because my soul threads have started growing out through the inside of my eyeballs. My whole body shudders as Tala steps forward and holds one of my tendrils between two hands. Mal is very different now, Tala agrees. It's scary. It's terrifying, really. But she's the only sister I have. Probably the only one I ever will have. Our mom's not. You know. Naga's suspicious glower softens ever so slightly and Veena wraps an arm around her shoulders. An ache in my chest pulses. I barely remember our mother. Tala and I. We haven't seen her in ages. We've been too ashamed to. Tala needs my tendril between her fingers, worried and inquisitive. Slowly, I move to hug her waist, which she allows. I'm just saying, Tala continues, I don't have anyone else. And I'm the big sister now. I know she hasn't been like this for long, but we've talked a lot, and I just have to trust her. I'd rather be killed by a pretender than. Look. Mal lost old memories and gained new ones. But she's still my sister, and that's final. Oh, Tala. I blubber, unable to help myself anymore. I extend dozens of tentacles out, wrap her up, and pull her to me. You're so perfect. I can't believe how lucky I am to have you. I love you so much. I love you too. Tala yelps, squirming fervently in my tendril cocoon. Now put me down. But you're just so great and I want to hug you so much. Mal I like hugging you too, but this is too much, so please put me down. Okay, I grumble, letting her plop shakily to the ground. I'll get you to enjoy my tentacle hugs, though. That sounds like a threat. I'll take a tentacle hug, Queen Venatila declares. Veena, my combat instructor, says harshly. What? Veena asks. She's not that scary. Honey, I didn't say she was scary, I'm just. Hug me, girl. Veena demands. I shrug and wrap my tentacles around her, yanking her towards me. She lets out a terrified and highly undignified yelp. It's so unexpected that Tala has to choke down a laugh. Oh no, she's going to be obsessed with this for months, Naga groans. I am not. Veena calls out from within our cuddle cocoon, trying to fight her own abject terror. Gosh, I didn't mean to do that to her. I'm sorry for traumatizing you, Queen Venatila, I tell her honestly. Should I let you go? No. Veena yells at the same time Naga says yes. I decide to split the difference and remove most of my tendrils, hanging Veena up by her armpits the way she restrained me in the match. My fingers spasm wildly as most of them finish getting threads pushed through them, causing Naga to jump and weave most of an ekphrasis construct to repel hostile magic. Not scary, huh? Veena taunts her. Okay, put me down, princess. It's my job to truss people up like this, not the other way around. For some reason, Naga seems more embarrassed by that than she did by nearly blasting me with another spell for no good reason, but I decide to ignore that and just drop Veena like she asked. So, I start as casually as possible. Hoop ball? No, Naga insists. No hoop ball. Not until I have a talk with the Great Mother. I'm disappointed by that and I let it show. I want to play more hoop ball, sure, but I also want my beloved instructor to trust me. I care about her. It'd hurt to learn she no longer cares about me. On the other hand, you know that means we win, right? I point out smugly. Shit. Veena swears. Naga, honey. We've got to go another round. No. We're leaving, we're setting a meeting, and we're getting to the bottom of whatever this is, she insists, motioning at me. Veena sighs, walking over to her lover. I understand. Well, we'll catch you later, princesses. And we'll kick your asses next time. I nod at her, smiling with my eyes. I hope she mellows Naga out some. The two of them fly off, so I turn to my sister. Wanna go around? I ask. Nah, she sighs. I think I'm done for the day. Like, completely. It'll be night soon, so I'm gonna head to bed. Tomorrow, then? I ask hopefully. She glances over to the court. Maybe not hoop ball, she chuckles. But yeah. Let's hang out sometime tomorrow. Bye, Mal Mal. She lifts up off the ground and flies away as well, leaving me alone. I let out a long, painful sigh. I guess I got ahead of myself there. Not everyone in Liriope is going to accept me for who I am. I should have expected that. But still, I'm allowed to be me. I don't have to hide. I have people I love that love me back. And for now, that's more than enough. I craft a flight spell with my tentacles, lifting myself gently into the sky. Threads of anima fill my body now, wrapping around and piercing through my organs. It doubtlessly looks rather horrifying. Once again, I feel my heartbeat, the constant pulse of blood through my body, the way my breathing tubes expand and contract to nourish my body with much-needed air. My stomach vomits horrid fluids within itself, constantly adjusting the acidic concoction it uses to dissolve food. My intestines suck moisture out of waste product, creating the shit and urine I'll need to expel in an hour or so. Countless muscles clench and unclench, some at my command and some beyond my ability to consciously affect. All this crowds my senses, and I find the refreshing smell of Liriope's beautiful air to be that much more distant because of it. It reminds me of Yelisaveta. I wonder if she's doing all right. I'll never forgive the Templars for what they did to me, but at the same time there are many of them that I hope are okay. Her, Lark. My whole squad, really. Would even one of them be happy to see me again? I suppose I'll find out when I return. I'll find Penelope, get her to help me take over Verdantop, and bring peace between our islands. That's the plan. The goal. It's nice to have one, after so long. To be safe and happy enough in the short term that I can care about the long term. It's so strange, yet so wonderful. I think I'll go home and tinker with automatons for a bit before bed. I have hobbies now, too. It's so beautifully odd, to feel like a complete person. I wish I didn't have to steal someone's life to get that, but here we are. I fly home, enjoying every second of it. I order my servants to organize my metal-powered constructs and they happily obey, utterly ignorant to the massive changes in my life. I suppose it's unlikely they would care. I play with my toys for a bit, only eating about half of them, then clean myself with a quick spell and get into bed. I go to sleep, and when I wake up my eyes are a deep, deep blue,